Visual Basic has another specialized conditional structure called a select case. It's only usable in certain situations, but it's designed to make our code a bit more readable under those conditions. Let's take a look at this flowchart of an if, then, else if, else structure. So if x equals A, we're going to perform process A. Otherwise, if x equals B, we'll perform process B. Otherwise, if x equals C, we'll perform process C. And if none of those are true, then we'll perform the default process under the else fork. Now notice in the comparisons here, in all the Boolean conditionals, we're comparing x to 3 different values, A, B, or C. And that's the key to the specialized select case use. We have to compare a container, such as x being a variable, to various cases of values for a match. Let's see how we'd write this same if, then, else if, else structure using a select case. The select case structure is written with the keyword select case followed by the container that we want to compare against all the different possibilities. In this case, I use the variable x. Then each case starts with the word case and the matching value. Case A would execute if x equals A. We perform process A. Else, if case equals B, we're going to perform process B. If case is C, so x equals C, we'll perform process C. Otherwise, we'll perform the default process, and that's the case else. And then we have an end select that ends the structure. In Visual Basic, once one case is true and executes, any subsequent case matches are ignored. So it's possible to have more than one case that matches the value of x, because I'll show in a minute you can do various ranges and multiple selections for a case. But once one case matches, anything after that is not executed. That's not true in other languages. C#, for example, requires you to break the case at the end of the process so it doesn't fall through to the next case. I believe Java is the same way. Also want to point out this is simply another way of writing an if, else, if. So you're not required to use a select case. I find it more readable and oftentimes very helpful. However, Python, for example, doesn't even have a comparable select case structure or switch structure. In most languages, such as C# and Java and Kotlin, we talk about this being a switch structure. And rather than select case, we use the word switch. But again, Python doesn't have that. You have to use an if, then, else, if structure in Python. So what's your preference of whether you prefer to write this with an if, else structure or a select case? I usually tend to favor a select case, if pertinent. So again, the key here is that all of the possible case forks are being compared to the variable or container at the top. Now, x could be a property. We could say if the back color of our form is red as a case, or case blue, or case cyan. So it doesn't have to be a variable. If we have a structure such as if x equals A, else if y equals B, else if z equals C, there is no comparable select case structure that we can use. We're comparing different things in all of the forks. There's a lot of flexibility in the case comparisons. For example, I can have multiple items that would match in a case and comma separate them. So here, case A, D, or N would be a match. Any one of the 3. Now I've used letters here. We can also use numbers, case 1, and I can use multiple numbers, comma separated, case 1, comma 2, comma 3. We can do a range, case 10 to 25. So if the value of x is 17, that would be a match. Anything between 10 and 25, and that is inclusive. I can also use the keyword is with a Boolean expression. Here, case is greater than xyz. As long as x is a higher value than the variable xyz, we have a match. And we can mix and match these things. So in the last one here, case 1, 2, anything between 10 and 15 or greater than xyz would be a match to execute that case fork. I created a trivia quiz application to demonstrate the use of select case. We have a button that says next question, and if I click this, it keeps track of which question we're currently on and shows the next question with the 4 possible answers. Each question and answers are a fork of a select case structure. And within the question, we're given 4 possibilities, and the user answers one, It gives them feedback, whether they got it correct or not, and the comparison of the answer to what their choice is and the feedback is also done with the select case structure. Let's get one wrong here. And so while we're going through the questions, it's keeping track of the number correct and number incorrect. If you get one incorrect, you have to keep guessing until you get it correct. So if I try to go to next question, I get a response saying, please first correctly answer the current question. If I try to move on without answering the question, same thing. When we get to the last question, we're told the quiz is complete. It took us 6 attempts to correctly answer all 5 questions. Click next to retake the quiz again. So I can click back to next question and we come back to question 1. I have class level variables that are keeping track of the question number, and that's being used in the select case structure. Let's take a look at the project in VB. For the user interface, I have a picture box with my banner image, a question named BTN Next, a label called LBL Correct, and an LBL Incorrect. Then I have 2 labels here. One is LBL Heading, and then LBL Question. We're going to change those values as we move to next question. And then we have 4 buttons called BTN Answer A, BTN Answer B, Answer C, and BTN Answer D. Again, the text of those will change as we move to the next question. So we need to code the next question, and we need to code the 4 buttons. Let's take a look at the next question code first. So I begin by creating some class level variables. An integer variable for the question number, we're going to initialize it to 0. The correct answer is a string. We're just going to say begin here. We have some keywords as well as the correct answer. So begin tells us we're going to start the quiz. Then integer variables for the number correct and the number incorrect. And then a Boolean variable called last correct, and set it to true. And I'm going to use that to verify they got the question correct before they can move forward to the next question. Here then is my sub procedure for BTN Next _ click, handling the BTN Next.click event. If the last correct equals false, in other words, they haven't gotten the previous answer correct, we're going to give them a message box that says, please first correctly answer the current question with the title of Can't Move On. And then we're going to exit the sub procedure. We don't need to do anything else here. Assuming, though, they got the last question correct and are ready to move on, we're going to increment question number. And we're going to set last correct to false. So they have to answer the question again to go to the next question. Now, here's my select case on question number. And all I'm doing for each case, looking at the question number, so question number 1, case 1, we're going to set the heading to question 1. The question text is, what breed of dog is Lady in the Disney animated film The Lady and the Tramp? And then my 4 possible answers, Poodle, Cocker Spaniel, Fox Terrier, Pomeranian, going into the 4 answer buttons. Setting the correct answer to Cocker Spaniel, setting the correct to 0, the incorrect to 0, so we're resetting that scoreboard since we're back to question number 1. And then for LBL correct, we're saying the correct is colon, and whatever the correct value is, it's using string interpolation. And then LBL incorrect.text is the incorrect colon and the number incorrect. And I do that to reset that scoreboard back to 0. Then case 2, we're going to change the heading text to question 2, the LBL question text to, in 2022, the French Bulldog was the most popular breed in America. What breed had been the most popular the previous 31 years? Again, my 4 answers and the correct answer. Then I'm doing the same thing for question 3, just changing the heading, the question, and the 4 answers and the correct answer. We get to question number 4, same thing. Change the heading, the question, the 4 answers, and the correct answer. Question number 5, what breed was canine title star of the television show Lassie from 1954 to 1973? Alaskan Malamute, Labrador Retriever, Australian Shepherd, and Collie are our 4 possible answers. The correct answer is Collie. And then our case else. So this is going to happen when we've gone through those 5 cases. The next match would be, case is going to be 6, which is when this is going to occur. But we're going to say the heading is quiz complete. and then show them the results of taking the quiz, how many attempts it took to correctly answer the 5 questions. We're going to set our button answers back to answer A, B, C, and D. Here's where we're going to set the correct answer to begin, and we'll see why we do that in a second, and the question number back to 0, and then last corrector to true so we can restart the quiz. That's the use of a select case to move through these different questions. Now, each of the buttons share the same handler. So the handler is simply called check answer. It handles btn answer a.click and btn answer b.click and so forth. We're going to dim answer button as button equals sender. So here I'm creating an alias as sender. Again, VB you can get by with just using sender, but it's good practice because other languages force you to create an alias to the sender object. Here's our select case on the correct answer. So the correct answer was what we had stored up above in our question. If the case is the answer button.text matches the correct answer, they got it correct, we're going to say very good. That correct answer is correct. You got it right for the title. We're going to increment correct by 1, set the correct answer to answered, and last correct equals true. So now they can move forward to the next question. If, however, the case is answered, so our correct answer says answered, which we set when they answer the question correctly, we're going to tell them, hey, you already answered this question. Click the next question button. If it says begin, so correct answer is begin, we're starting out a new quiz, click the next question button to begin, and my title is ready to begin, question mark. Otherwise, case else, they clicked a button that was not correct. This is going to be all of our 3 incorrect buttons being handled. Sorry, answer button.text, the one they clicked on, is not the correct answer. Try again. We're going to increment incorrect by 1 and say last correct equals false. They can't move on to the next question. And we enter select, and then we're going to update each time they're clicking an answer. We're going to update the correct and incorrect scoreboard by setting the text of LBL correct and LBL incorrect. So we're using a select case to handling our answers and other possibilities, and a select case in cycling through the different questions of our quiz. Down the road, we will see how we can randomize both the questions and the answers. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the Programming Practicum playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos I create, you can click my picture in the top right to subscribe to the channel.